Hello, and welcome to Chicago Fae, another Twice Roll Tales production. Hopefully you've caught some of our other episodes. If not, check them out on our YouTube and everywhere we are in social media. This is the probably the third installment of Chicago Fae. We have left our heroes as the sun sets. They have curled up for the night in Boston Brady's occult workshop of witchery.
Mystic messages and occult objects. A full day at the Chicago Fair with many tumultuous, calamitous, and otherwise disastrous events, including the Ferris wheel and the cold storage breaking and going up in flames, respectively. They have received dire warnings and new meetings from many friends. Do you want to just briefly go around, introduce your character yourselves, and just what happened to you yesterday?
I'm Phoebe. I'm playing Spitz, who is a little piece of New York street trash, about 9 to 10 years old at anyone's best guess, who came to the fair in search of new and exotic animals to tell the fellow orphans about, and instead ended up trapped under a Ferris wheel after a talking rabbit told them it would be cool to remove some bolts, which they are very good at because their best friend is a wrench. And that led to a further series of events which put them in the guardianship of local witch Maura Brady.
I'm Shawn. I'm playing Phineas B. Wheel, who's motivated by railing against kind of three big things, being unsafe factory working conditions, underdeveloped fire safety standards, and exploitative child labor laws. And spoiler alert, all three of those things happened in a big, bad way in the past 24 hours. Not a great time for Phineas B. Wheel, but he's collecting himself and ready for a brave new dawn.
Amazing. I'm Emily. I'm playing Marion Mudd. She is a journalist from Atlanta. Yesterday, she kind of had her expectations of what this fair would be kind of turned on their head as she watched both the Ferris wheel and the cold storage facility go up in flames. She's working for a little bit shady sort of newspaper distributor, and she is very anxious to get to talk to him about what might be happening and some of the unseen forces that might be trying to take this fair down.
I'm Ken. I'm playing Maura Brady, local witch and farrier of various nefarious goods.
Should be the new tagline for the shop.
A lot of the same bell.
She, after receiving a message that was like, hey, a child exists, she went to go find a child and found them under said Ferris wheel, and now she's got 3 people in her shop that all don't know what's happening, and really neither does she. She doesn't like being the most knowledgeable person in the room.
We love a found family arc.
Amazing. Yes, so would any of you specifically wake up early in the morning? Do you have
Absolutely
a sense?
not.
Absolutely not. All right, Maura, you kind of wake up a little bit earlier. But the 3 adults kind of come awake to sort of the pre-dawn hours. You can hear people starting to stir as the day starts. It sounds like, you heard sirens or you heard fire alarms and bells well into the night, but it sounds like things have sort of calmed down, although being so close to the cold storage definitely can still kind of smell smoke on the wind. It's a cool July 11th. You think that it's going to be quite a warm day, but things have yet to heat up. But you feel like you have a few moments in this morning to collect yourselves, figure out what you're going to do. Spitz, of course, fast asleep. They've kind of rolled even further into the fireplace.
Oh boy.
There's now a layer of soot over the layer of mud.
The book you've fallen asleep on is imprinted into the side of your face, so it just says
occult symbology.
Yeah, kind of embedded. Marion, you wake up and you kind of almost stumble over Moira as you're kind of walking out of the closet. She's in a little bed pallet on the ground.
And the fire poker that I left on the floor in front of the room.
Oh, pardon me, Miss Brady.
You're fine. You want coffee?
If it wouldn't be too much trouble.
I'm making it anyway. She starts boiling the water to make a big old thing of coffee.
Wonderful. Last night feels like a dream, a nightmare, something of the sort.
Does it?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I feel like everything I thought that this fair would be just sort of changed overnight, and I wasn't really expecting to deal with 2 calamities in one day.
Oh.
It's a lot to process.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's Chicago.
Give me a spot hidden check, both of you. You make that.
I do not.
You do not. Yeah, all right. Yeah, so you're standing kind of at this kitchen window, or this little, like, kitchenette, probably, window. And Marion, you see a newspaper boy walk past, and he's carrying a newspaper that says, "Apologetic arsonist. Phineas B. Wheel claims responsibility, says anyone in New York City would have done the same thing."
I'm gonna poke my head out. Excuse me, can I get one of those?
"Oh, sure, miss. It'll be 5 cents.
Great. She reaches into her pocket, pulls out a little purse. And
Read all about it."
Thank you. To get a load of this.
Do I exist in the room at this point?
Yeah, so you're kind of just getting up, so you'd have heard bits of this.
You admitted to it?
Good morning. Thank you, first of all, for your hospitality. So sorry to have intruded.
You're the paper, hun.
Do you mind if I take
Front
a
page
look
news.
at that?
Yeah, absolutely. Read it out so we can all hear.
I will do that. Well, first maybe I'll make a sanity check, but then I will read this headline aloud through your voice, because that's how being a game master works.
Yeah,
It wasn't a confession.
details on the ground are still sketchy. Chief engineer blames wiring faults, and Mr. Gerard Carson points to suspicious persons who had been found in the electrical refrigerator area right before the fire had been escorted to police station. This subject is still at large. Police vow to hunt him down, but urge the public caution as it is unclear exactly what has happened. But consider Phineas B. Wheel a person of main interest in the case. Police have not released details of a sworn statement that he apparently left at this police station before breaking out and absconding to parts unknown. And you can see sort of like, it's like it's like 2 pages. So the front news page is the fire, and it goes on to detail, 12 firefighters' lives lost. Fire marshal puts blame squarely on building development, ignoring warning signs for many months. You do also learn that, contrary to what you thought before, while there were kind of like tours of the refrigerator going on, the building wasn't actually fully finished yet, and people had not been on the ice skating rink. So it was just sort of workers and people familiar with the building who were there, and it sounds like all but 2 of them got out, and primarily the lives were lost because of just the unsafe conditions of the building and how easily the fire was able to spread up in the chimneys. And there's praise and bravery for the firefighters who were able to rescue people. And then also the Ferris wheel is also in the second half of the story, because that's also happened. It's baptism by fire and calamity at the wheel is the second. 3 weeks after opening, disaster has struck the Ferris wheel. Interestingly, authorities also wish to speak to Phineas B. Wheel. It's unclear what has happened, but given sworn statements by Mr. Green and Mr. Carson, it seems that he might have relevant information. Please be advised. The authorities are continuing to work on both situations and advise visitor caution in both areas.
2 wheels in the news. The massive one that broke, and me, and I'm mentioned first.
I think it's safe to say that whatever I delivered to the cold storage didn't start the fire. I think we can come to that conclusion very quickly, based on what's been said here, and we can all just chill a little bit about it.
I wouldn't say that in the slightest.
I trust you'll appreciate the gravity of the situation and that I don't have words right now, which is a rarity for me.
I'm appreciating the situation a lot, sir.
I think this probably wakes Spitz up.
So Spitz wakes up because they smell coffee. And she's like, kind of extricates themselves from a cocoon that they have made out of the blanket. And scurries up to the counter and holds out a hand for a little cup of coffee.
Morning, darling.
I wet a towel.
Okay.
And I swipe your hands like that. I like put the towel around your hands and I go like this. And I put a cup of coffee in your hands.
Coffee. Spitz just slurps that thing down like a little gremlin.
Give me a constitution check.
This is for caffeine.
Yeah.
Spitz is 10. And I guess Mora does
Not.
not make weak coffee.
That's
Probably not.
That's a pass.
I don't think we know that coffee stunts your growth yet.
Yeah, Spitz seems fine.
Child labor laws are a thing.
Exactly.
Or
This is
aren't
not
a
the first
thing.
time Spitz has had coffee.
No. Incredible. Cool. So give me an investigation check, or a spot hidden check. Yeah, as you're flipping through the newspaper, you also see, this continues for some number of pages. There's lots of statements. They've had several hours to be knocking on doors. And you see that the mayor, Mr. Harrison, has also, released statements affirming his staunch support of the fire marshals and the building constructors, saying this is nothing but a tragic accident, nothing, while it appears to be a tragic accident, full investigation, and he doesn't believe any of his personnel are to blame or anyone involved in the fair, and he does understand they have some person of interest they are pursuing, and he urges them to cooperate fully with the authorities and vows to put his full force of his authority behind ensuring this doesn't happen again. He's very, very appreciative of everyone who's their hard work and their sacrifice.
Miss Brady, I feel honor bound to go clear my name with the press, or in some way try to clear up this situation, but I know we were expecting a visitor of some sort today.
The spot hidden check.
Oh, no.
Is that what... am I needed here?
Oh, no.
Is
but,
it safe for me to go
Also
beyond
no.
the general Chicago Police Department's keen interest in myself at present?
I would say it's not safe to go because of the Chicago
Got it.
Police Department's general interest in your presence.
Can't trust the pigs.
How currently worried about Jimmy and Harry et al. Should I currently be?
More than the cops.
More than the cops. And you say that knowing that I am indeed at this point quite worried about the cops.
Yes.
Because they seem to be indeed quite worried about me for fully inscrutable reasons that I'm sure is a huge misunderstanding and that could easily be cleared up with a quick visit to the police department, which you
Given-
are not recommending.
No. Given your ability to just sort of spout off,
Clear my
I don't
name,
recommend you talking to anyone who a verbal contract is extremely physically binding.
How without clear and verbose communication could this situation not be cleared up? I really feel like that's the necessary recourse
Any
here.
sort of double entendre is really gonna kick you in the balls here, man.
Okay.
But balls.
I hope it's...
As
I
you're
hope it's all
saying
right
this, you see, you're looking through the window, and you see kind of a tall man, long coat, who's just sort of waiting on the opposite street, but clearly like watching the shop to see who comes out of it. Anyone can feel free to like give me an investigation check on the guy, and you can give me a mythos check if you want, or a cult check.
Okay. 20.
20.
Spot hidden.
Something the spot hidden.
No, I missed it by 1 point.
My occult and my spot hidden are the same, so I succeed both.
Cool.
It's not a sanity check, so I fail.
Great. What a dude standing there. So you look at this guy. He's definitely not Fae. He's very human. Incredibly human.
Like too human?
No, like, he's staring at your shop. You don't think you've seen him around before. but, you're not the only human in the employ of the Fae.
Right.
And there's a reason the Fae employ humans. And you're thinking of all of the Fae security you have in your shop. And how that would keep the Fae out. So you see a guy standing there. He just has a look of sort of, you don't think he's a police officer, but you think like PI, undercover, something like that. Like, he's not really trying to be inconspicuous to you guys, but more just not arouse suspicion from everyone else around. He is well-dressed, a little bit too well-dressed for your shopping area. So, and he's definitely waiting for someone.
We might want to get you away from the window for just a little while.
I suppose that might be a good idea, yeah.
You got too much heat on you.
I've never had heat on me.
Right, it's clear that you don't really know what to do with it, and that's all right. That's a testament to your character.
I'm sure given ample opportunity to speak with the authorities, all of this could be cleared up, but I worry about losing the lead with the other subjects at large who seem to be certainly more involved than myself in causality here.
What?
What do we do?
Miss Mudd.
How do we fix this?
How would you feel about asking that gentleman what he's doing?
I can certainly do that.
In your little investigative way.
Of course.
You seem very good at getting the truth out of people. I mean, we're all great liars, and you sussed us out immediately, so...
You are fantastic liars. It really was a stretch of my faculties. Tell you what, I will go see what that gentleman wants. We will clear your name.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
This is sort of my specialty, is
The clearing of names?
getting to the bottom of things, getting to the truth.
Absolutely. The truth being, of course, that I was uninvolved with either of these incidents categorically.
And I do know that now. There is something bigger here, and I would want to get the whole story before we print anything, so in the time being, I want to keep you safe. Because just saying Phineas Big Wheel is innocent isn't going to convince anybody. But we can make it a start.
And my best current recourse is to hide?
I haven't quite figured that part out yet.
You can see the gentleman's joined by another kind of thinner man wearing very dark glasses.
Lovely.
You want to
We
build a
open
fort?
at 11.
I think
We
I
open at
actually
11, just if
do.
they're actual customers.
Sure.
Or if you need
Hell
to
yeah.
pretend like you think that they're actual customers. We
Good
open
to
at
know.
11.
Good to know. All right, I'll be back in a moment. Stay away from the window, baby.
Spitz downs the rest of their coffee and starts searching for things to build a fort with Phineas.
Yeah. Spitz, I mean, no disrespect by saying this, but I think when it comes to being a fugitive, you might actually have more experience than myself. And if you wouldn't mind showing me the ropes, as it were, I really would appreciate it. I'm a little out of my depth at this moment.
You've come to the right place. Rule number 1, get yourself a wrench.
I struggle to see how that would ameliorate the current difficulties, but I'll
Be
take it under
shocked
advisement.
how many circumstances have been solved by just having a wrench.
Are you looking for wrenches around? Like, is Phineas actively trying to do
I'll do a
this?
spot hidden.
Yeah.
I will take any and all advice at this point. I'm lost. That's a 94. I see no wrench.
You see, there's a mortar and pestle. But a really quite small one. But there's you can grab them.
I'll grab just the mortar.
pestle.
Just the pestle. The part of the mortar and pestle that isn't a bowl, but is instead.
which is I think this is the pestle.
Yeah, it's a pestle.
Yeah,
the
the
mortar
pestle.
is the vessel. The mortar's the vessel. The pestil's the.
Okay, and then a fort you mentioned.
Yeah,
A
so
bastion of sorts?
usually I would look for like cardboard and tarps, but I don't think there's a lot of cardboard and tarps in here. So these blankets and pillows should work.
For protection from
The elements. And also eyes. Come on.
Okay, I will indeed come on.
Great. So the sun has risen, and it's just starting to kind of come over the tops of the buildings, but it's still a little bit shadowy. So you can see the two figures kind of just still posted up.
Great, awesome. Marian's gonna step outside, a little bit like disheveled, like she's not really sure, like unassuming as much as possible, and say, "Hello there, gentlemen. May I help you?
Hello. Yeah, hi. We're just waiting for our boss to get here. I'm sure I can tell that you were alerted of our comings. You don't seem too surprised.
I mean, we get customers pretty early around here, but we don't actually open till 11.
You can see that the shorter one says, come on. You just try it, like, it's hilarious. And the other one's like, I think Mr. Parks is going to be by whether or not you're open.
Mr. Parks is
Miss Mudd.
is Mara expecting you? She didn't say anything about Mr. Parks visiting today.
Mr. Parks doesn't necessarily need to be welcomed in order to be expected.
I see. Well, I hate to be a bother, but we don't really like loitering around the building. If you would just come back maybe when we're open, then we would be welcome. We're happy to receive you then.
Says, you're welcome to call the authorities if you'd like, Miss Mudd. But something tells me you don't want to do that right now.
There's like a psych check.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. We make it.
Yeah, so the tall man, he's a little bit big dude, head empty. He's sort of practiced an air of menace, but he has been told to stand here and to make sure people don't leave, and or that he can get in at some point, just keeping an eye on the place. His partner is a little more interesting. They're really fidgety in a way that it's not so much that they're just kind of a twitchy, fidgety person. It's almost just like the air is bending a bit weirdly around them. And it's kind of hard to get a full sense of what they look like. Yeah, they're a little strange.
Can I see through it, like from the window?
Yeah, give me an occult check.
I pass.
Yeah, you look through the window, and the window has probably some occult glazing on it. You've thrown everything at the wall here when you can. And
sometimes literally.
And through the window, you can see that this person isn't really all quite there. That they're appearing sort of as human, but if they were sort of to flicker, turn sideways, there would just be almost nothing there. They're very wispy and and you get the sense that everything about them is an illusion and a trick. Okay. And that maybe the glasses are more of a misdirect, and it's really everything about them that is off-putting and strange. Yeah, actually, give me a sanity check for that.
Yeah, sure.
There's nothing to explain why this is
Still
happening.
make it.
Great. So yeah, you can see the sun is coming over, and it's now kind of putting them in light. And you think it's just the heat. It's just a kind of a bit of a mirage. He's in a bit of a mirage. As the taller one says, ma'am, I don't think we're fooling either. Like, we're not fooling you, you're not fooling us. You know approximately why we're here.
I'm sorry, I haven't the slightest idea. I'm from out of town, you see. I'm just here visiting for the fair. So I want to be sure I can convey the right message to my dear cousin Mora, about what we can maybe expect when Mr. Parks comes, what we maybe should be looking out for.
The other one kind of looks at us and looks at the other one, and then the tall one goes, and the short one kind of slinks and glitches over to you and says, "Oh, I like this one. She's kind of a trick, but she's not lying, but it's not quite right, is it? No, it's not the cousin, but you are new. You're new. You're fun, very fun."
They're distant cousins. Distant. You did get that one right, absolutely. But you're perceptive, aren't you?
Oh, that's been said about me.
I like to think I'm quite perceptive myself, so birds of a feather,
Oh, see that? She thinks we're the same. Do you like to go out for walks at night?
I can't say I do. Sorry.
Never alone?
Not really. You see, I I don't know if you really understand this, but I'm a woman. I live in a fairly large city. Walking alone at night is not something people like me do.
Well, if you ever change your mind, I could highly recommend it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But back to the matter at hand. Can you tell me a little bit more about Mr. Park? I'm really not familiar with this fella.
Says, well, Mr. Parks is, well, I would never want to lead anyone astray, but I think that you should do whatever he says. He is very big and he just radiates a sense of importance and light, and it's hard to not do what he says, you know?
Isn't he official in some way? Is he with the government?
He says, well, yeah, you could say that. Yeah, you could say that as, sure, he's official.
Does he know Mayor Harrison at all?
Give me a psychology check.
Sure. That is a crit success!
Really?
Yes, it is!
Wild. Oh,
That's the one!
Okay.
The dice know!
You need a dice cam too?
Yeah.
Like, too
yeah.
much of this has felt
what?
scripted.
Just put it in front.
'cause we've
Prove to the map cam.
Your map cam. It's a 1.
God, we should have captured the Ferris wheel.
Yeah, like
Oh, God.
it's happened too many times to feel like
Yeah.
it's not canned. I promise you.
Amazing.
Yeah, so when you say that, ask if he knows Mr. Harrison, yeah, you can see all of that flicker sort of radiate throughout his entire body, just very, very quickly, very instantaneous. If you weren't really watching for it, you would notice it. And his face is hard to read, but it feels a lot like anger. And then also just a little bit of like schadenfreude, like a little bit of malicious glee is there too. When he says, well, Mr. Parks is absolutely aware of Mr. Harrison. I mean, who wouldn't be? He's everywhere. He's all over the fair. He's been mayor of Chicago 5 times. Did you know that?
5 times.
5 isn't quite a lucky number, but he's trying to get there. Yes, Mr. Harrison, such a distinguished man. Mr. Parks would, of course, be very aware of Mr. Harrison. Question is Mr. Harrison aware of Mr. Parks?
I see. And would you say Mr. Parks is a supporter of Mr. Harrison? Like, what does Mr. Parks want with Mr. Harrison?
No, you have really pretty eyes. What would you want for him?
I'm afraid my eyes are not for sale, but I appreciate the compliment.
As you're saying this, the sun like fully descends upon the shop, and this gentleman is kind of lit up and goes a little bit transparent and translucent in front of you. Give me a sanity check. He says,
Still make it.
man, those mirages, they're just
so weird.
It's afraid our time is up. If I would be delighted to speak about this more. If you'd care for a moonlit walk sometime.
Perhaps sometime. Could I get your name?
Says, some call me Will.
Will. All right. Any last name?
Oh, no, I'm afraid I wasn't. I've never been so fortunate as to acquire a last name.
I see. Well, it was a pleasure meeting you, Will.
As always.
he puts out a hand to he's trying to shake your hand but doesn't really know what that looks like, so he just gives you a hand.
She thinks about it for a second, but is still kind of in her pajamas a little bit. And so she's like, I'm sorry, I'm not quite decent yet, but I will see you soon, I'm sure.
He says, I'll be waiting. And as the sun fully starts to shine upon the building, he just basically melts away back to a safe corner of the street, and you can see him sort of
hiding in the shadow, as the other tall man you kind of talk to, like, he's just hanging out there. And you see coming down the side of the street, and you see people are sort of moving out of the way of this figure, that this figure has just some sort of unspoken gravitas. And you see a man wearing a long wool coat in beautiful shades of tan, very in keeping with the style, hopefully. Very in keeping with the style. And he's got long hair and a beautiful ginger mustache. You can see that he's making a beeline right for the shop. He's got a very fancy walking cane. You can hear it kind of tapping along the cobblestones as he parts the sea of people kind of getting to work and things.
Lovely.
So it's like a second here to decide how you want to do this.
The kind of larger dude is still like standing outside the shop. He's not going anywhere. Okay, great. I'm going to duck my head into the shop and say, Maura,
Yes.
I think you better get out here.
I think you better get in here.
All right. I'll follow your lead.
What are Spitz and Wheel doing at this point?
I think we're sitting inside of a blanket fort.
Can you describe this blanket fort to me a little bit?
Okay. It is extremely colorful because I feel like all the things that we could find were like the sort of very patterned, ornate, occult types of like throw rugs and pillows, and everything's got tassels on it because that's the vibe for occultism in this century. I'm like, truly, these are some of the fanciest things Spitz has ever seen, and it's just made a fort with them. It's all propped up and on like whatever across like a couple of chairs and whatever other furniture they could find. It's just a very small space. It's like really the only things that could fit in here are Phineas and Spitz. As far as Spitz is concerned, that's how big a fort needs to be. It doesn't need to be any bigger than fits you. I think they're just sitting in there.
You? Anyway.
They're both probably just sitting in there. And Spitz is kind of explaining to Phineas how further rules of how to be a fugitive.
Yes.
Incredible.
So when the pigs come for you, you don't keep talking. You talk a lot. You can't cut that out.
You hear a rap on the glass, and this gentleman has taken his walking stick and very gently knocked it against the glass.
Rule number 3, ignore, ignore, ignore.
And even if they're doing
An
their
unopened door is a happy door.
a part of the natural recourse of their occupation, which they're doing as civic we pay taxes for them to do that job. It's a part of living in society. They actually must do that.
And I'm like, hey, so this guy, not a cop, just like regular bad news. Can he borrow your other wrench? Wait, I don't know about your other wrench. I give him the iron poker from the fireplace. I'm like, you hold on to that. Can you take care of him for me? Thank you.
I'll protect you.
Thank you.
Gotta work on your mean face.
You said Jimmy was working for somebody. I'm assuming that is that somebody?
That is the only thing that I could think about that would make sense.
Great. And this is potentially quite bad news for us.
Potentially.
Okay, great. So what's the plan? Just waiting here until he passes or makes his way in?
The tall gentleman just opens the door and sticks his head and he's like, you didn't lock this. Hello.
We're closed until 11. I'm so sorry.
I told you earlier.
I can get you... We can read your cards. I can read your palm. We can do an energy cleanse. I'm really feeling that from you right now. But you're gonna have to wait until like 10:59 at the absolute earliest.
We appreciate your business.
He just
I start shutting the door with my foot.
He's not moving. You'd have to give me like an opposed strength roll if you're trying to shove it out.
No, but she is gonna kind of like prop her foot against it.
So it's like two doors. So the bodyguard has opened it, and so he kind of just like holds it open, and then the well-dressed ginger gentleman sort of sticks his head in and says, "My, a card reading! What an offer from Miss Brady."
That's me.
I'm sorry, sir. We're closed until 11. I told your associate out here, but I'm sorry. We're really just not
surely
open for business
a member
yet.
of the upstanding community, such as myself, wouldn't want to keep. I am unfortunately very busy, and I'd love to have a private conversation with you folks. I'm happy to take you up on your offer of a card reading.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Marion is in training. So
I'm
she
shadowing.
is going. Yes, she's shadowing me, and we're just gonna have to do everything together.
A
And-
student, how delightful!
Absolutely.
Pleasure to make your acquaintance. Could I come in?
Not until 11.
I'm sorry. You see, it's been a big day yesterday with all the commotion at the fair, so we got in. We had a rather late night, and we're still setting up the shop. I'm sure you understand. We want to make it as presentable as possible for a person of your standing, of course.
Give me a stealth roll.
Charm.
Give me a charm. Give me an occult check.
Hey, that's a hard charm.
A hard charm.
I
Hard
fail.
pass.
You fail.
Hard stealth.
Hard stealth?
Can I stealth?
You have to stealth too. This is a
Can he get advantage from my hard stealth in the fort that I?
Yeah, sure.
That's a big fail.
But you
You
get
got-
so reroll that one. 50.
Fail again.
Do you want
Phineas
different
is not
dice,
very
man? Do
stealthy.
you want different dice?
So many other dice.
It is what needs to happen.
Want all
Phineas
the
is
dice?
so much lank, and there's not much to build a Phineas-sized fort in here.
He is holding a full iron poker.
Yeah. I'm like in the fort, but like full like knees from
Yeah,
out are just like in the room.
Yeah, I believe that for Call of Cthulhu, at least half of your party has to pass a collective stealth roll. So Spitz, pass. Phineas, hard fail.
Yeah. Pretty hard failed.
Spitz is having a hell of a time teaching these adults to be stealthy. A lot of it's really dependent upon fitting into small spaces.
So Mr. Parks, which I'm assuming that Marion has shared at some point. Maybe.
I was like listening to.
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
and
Okay, yeah. So
keeping an eye on her,
you
making
were
sure she wasn't
assuming,
saying anything.
that this is Mr. Parks, and so he says, "Those terms are acceptable. I will see you back here at 11."
Thank you for your understanding, sir.
And he says, "Of course, my calling card." And like hands over, like exactly balanced between the thresholds of the doorway, like a very ornate calling card. So he's got one hand.
Take it.
And it says, Mr. Samuel Parks in like very elegant scrolling writing, and then no other contact information.
Okay. So we don't have a lot of time here. Is there a way that I can...
He's gone.
yeah,
I'm
is he
assuming
going-
you're saying this. Are you saying this in out of character?
Okay, I'll say this next part out of character because it's a mechanics question.
Yeah.
Is there a way that I would be able to, like, use my Tell the Future spell, but with the like, somehow imbue the deck with the card energy to try to tell his future
I think we
and, like,
we-
read his cards?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
We can do that.
Cool. Especially if I do, like, the whole rigmarole.
Yes, I think that's absolutely a thing.
Spell card.
I think that's an absolute thing
Okay.
we can do with. We can combine some elements of the Speak to the Dead. You got like an item from him. Yeah, I think that. Well, that's possible. We'll figure that out. So he says, card. Pleasure. Pleasure, Miss Mudd. And he says, and I don't. I did hope to speak to one of your newer acquaintances. It seems you have a young fellow who likes to get up to some mischief. I don't see them anywhere.
You know, I gave them some coffee this morning, and I'm starting to feel like that was a bad idea. They just up and bolted, looking for horsies. I
Probably
heard.
ran off back to the fair, back to the Buffalo
Yeah.
Bill Wild West show.
I see. Well, I will have to immediately head that way then. See what the happenings. I hear there was quite a calamity there yesterday.
Yeah, it was crazy. But Buffalo Bill gave us free tickets, and I'm patting myself down. I can't seem to find him. That must be where the little rascal got off to.
I see. He like gives the wheel corner a very, very hard stare. And he says, well, you know, it's the acquaintance that makes the man. That's what I always like to say. Have a good day.
and he walks off, and you can see the taller gentleman sort of follows him, while you don't see Will anywhere. There's not that many shadows left on the street, but you don't not see him. You don't know where he's gone off to.
What is happening?
So much. You remember how
Safe to come out.
these four walls, right? Okay. Fairies are real.
Fairies.
The Spitz's head pops out of the floor. I knew it!
Yes. All manner of wizardry and all that. That man was a wizard
Oh.
or a fairy of some kind. I haven't worked it out yet. We're gonna do a ritual, and you're just gonna let that happen. If you want to participate, you may. Alternatively, do whatever you want. They only just now seemed interested in you. Don't walk around outside at night. I don't think that should be said.
I took that.
Is he an evil wizard?
This guy, absolutely terrible vibes I'm getting off of him. But I'm not sure. It really, again, depends on your definition of evil and good. It's all very wishy-washy. I mean...
It'll be okay. I have a wrench.
You have that wrench. You are so fucking cool, kid.
Give me an either psychology or an intelligence check.
Me?
Yeah.
That passes my intelligence.
Okay, cool.
As far as Mora's concerned, Spitz is like their first line of defense.
Good
Kid
and
with
evil,
wrench.
debatable. Vibes undeniably rancid.
It's like some people would define evil as blood magic, but that's like a really exclusive way to think
It's
about
just
it.
your opinion, man. But also,
Yeah, don't be so class-minded. Expand your umbrella of evil.
Basically, yeah, there are ways to tell if he's evil. I just don't know if he's doing those things.
Miss Brady, you mentioned a ritual.
Yeah, super easy. Don't worry about it.
A ritual of the occult variety.
As opposed to...
I apologize. I'm a little new to all of this, and quite frankly, very scared. What is this ritual?
Oh, we're just gonna read his cards. I'm gonna imbue my deck with his energy from the card that he gave me, or I'm gonna try to at least. We'll see if that works. And then I'm going to just do like a basic 3-card reading, try to see what I can see from this guy.
3-card reading.
What kind of energy might he have? Are we talking something?
It's just to tell the cards whose fortune you're reading. It's very simple.
I see.
Don't worry about it.
The evil wizard's not gonna hurt Buffalo Bill, is he?
No. Of course not.
What am I rolling to see if I believe her?
If you feel the need to roll for that, you definitely could. If you want to just go off character vibes as well, on what you feel about that.
Spitz is very untrusting of adults, but Mora is specifically has been like, this is Spitz's new favorite adult.
And I don't think Mora thinks he's gonna kill him. I think Mora just realized that she hesitated for too long. It's just like, because the answer is, I don't know. Maybe. But you can't say that to a 10-year-old.
Yeah, why not? I mean, like, she's never lied to you before, probably. It's fine. Buffalo Bill will be fine. I'm sure your rabbit friend will be fine.
He's Buffalo
My
Bill.
what?
Your rabbit friend.
Oh.
I don't know. Do you consider the rabbit your friend?
No, he's an evil
No.
wizard.
The wizard. You
I
feel
know
like very
I know
undecided.
the rabbit was clearly a wizard, but like, I don't know enough to know if he was a good wizard or not. At first, because at first it was like, oh, that's a talking rabbit. That's a whole other thing. But then the rabbit showed up again, and it was a guy. It was like, oh, you were a wizard the whole time. Wizard's a little sus.
Wizards are sus.
Never met a good wizard so far.
Jury's out.
Amazing. Okay, so you're gonna hold on this.
I'm gonna hold on this for now.
Okay. Yeah, fair.
Would you like to help me with my ritual?
Could I trouble you for a pen and paper?
Okay.
I
I just sort of like find something.
Yeah, no, I mean, of course, no disrespect to your wonderful shop or your wonderful ritual or the goings on here, but I am wanted for 2 counts of incredible crimes that I did not commit,
Right.
which it dawns upon me my own writing might have helped condemn me for. And clearly the best way to circumvent the situation is to write more and make sure that the new writing, the corrected writing, which of course will clear my name and correct the whole story, gets into the right hands. So if you have a pen and paper, I think I can just kind of get that all straightened out and then deliver it when it's safe to the proper entities.
Can you handle that?
Mr. Wheel, I appreciate...
You're a writer.
Yes, exactly. I am a writer. Your wish to clear your name is admirable, and your want to do so in more words, also admirable. I think it's been lost on you that every time you've gotten yourself into a pickle, it seems to be you saying more words.
Miss Mudd, I am currently in a pickle.
Yes, I do understand.
If you have better suggestions to remove myself from said pickle, I'm at my wit's end, but writing got me into this mess, and writing's really my only tool to get me out.
Well,
No, you have poker now.
I do.
You do have an
Spitz
iron
very
poker.
helpfully advised me in
You should
how
get a
to be a
wrench.
vagabond, which
Right.
I really gave an earnest try to, and I don't think vagabondery is a skill that I'm quite as suited for as perhaps writing and clearing my name.
Here, try, do this face.
Don't believe I can, and I'm very scared of you right now. It's a very good face.
I do have an idea. My employer, Mr. Prendergast,
Yes.
has been looking for information to possibly damn the mayor. His motivations are a little unclear to me at this time, but I'm sure he'd be interested in any sort of information that might clear up yesterday's calamity. And maybe hearing it straight from you with me to corroborate might help.
The mayor, known supporter of the Ferris wheel despite mechanical concerns. And yes, a policymaker. Yes, I would love to speak to Mr. Prendergast.
Wonderful. I've meant to go to speak with him today, actually. So you're welcome to come along with me. May
And-
arouse a little less suspicion if you're with someone and not looking like an actual criminal.
I will try my best not to be offended by that, Miss Mudd. I know you mean no disrespect. Miss Brady, is your guest someone we should be worried about at the present moment? How long do we have until 11?
Yeah, so it is about 7:30 right now.
Plenty of time.
So yeah, you've got plenty of
Okay.
time, but also
Is-
at 11,
He's
you have
gonna be-
agreed to be here.
No, I agreed to let him in.
Yes.
I did not agree to be here or to read his fortune. And that's what I'm thinking.
Miss
Okay,
Brady, should we be here at 11? Should we not be here at 11?
I'm not sure yet, but I do, maybe we just take everything and we go
At 11? Go from
before
here to
11
not
and I
here.
just leave a note on the door that says, "Come on in, Mr. Park. He can come in all he wants, but we won't be here." How's that sound?
Will that be acceptable to him?
It meets the conditions of the deal that we made.
I don't see why not then.
It's a little slimy, but
I mean, and you are intending to read his fortune. So as
So
far
we're
as
gonna read that now?
you
is
have
there-
enough, you have enough time to do that, and at least another attempt if you fail.
okay.
Ask-
That's up
Ask
to you
the
guys.
cards if he's gonna hurt Buffalo Bill.
Pick a card and ask your question.
Bill's safe. This is the lovers again.
Reunification. Everything's gonna be fine.
Wow, this tarot thing really has cut and dry answers. Nice.
Yep. Everything's gonna be fine. They will meet and possibly be enamored with one another.
It's that seems a bit far-fetched. All right.
Buffalo Bill will be fine. The cards say so.
Can I make an intelligence check to see if that tracks for me?
Yeah, I think.
Make a psychology check if you want to see if I'm pulling it out of my ass.
That's a 12.
Yeah, so I
Yes.
you think that Mr. Parks, like, you have a finely tuned instinct for when an adult is a little too interested in you.
Mm-hmm.
You're a kid living in the streets of London, living in the streets of New York.
People have tried to kidnap me a lot.
Yeah, like, it's not safe. So you have fairly good instincts for when an adult is a dangerous adult, as opposed to just sort of unsavory and crazy. No offense.
Oh, I was sorry. I was reading the meanings, and I'm like, well, it doesn't really say one way or another if Buffalo Bill's gonna live. So,
Yeah. So you have a sense, and Mr. Parks, rancid vibes.
Yeah.
Rancid vibes. And
yeah,
so you
I don't think Buffalo Bill would fall in love with him.
it seems unlikely, and you think that he seemed to believe that he seemed to be looking for you to some extent, and that he was going to Buffalo Bill's with the intent of finding you.
Mm-hmm.
And depending on how that went down, that could be fine. If anyone offered up resistance, they might be less fine. He sounded kind of scary and not very accommodating towards other people's difficulties. So you don't have you don't think that Mr. Parks has it out specifically for Buffalo Bill, but you also think Buffalo Bill seemed like a guy, when at least in public, was presented with the opportunity to defend a child, would do so.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some conflict there.
Yeah. Okay.
And you also do have a little bit in the back of your head and the nagging sense that you still need to go get some bolts.
Should I make a sanity check to,
Yeah,
or something about that?
I think so, yeah, because you've explicitly declined the offer to trade failing to complete that for your favor. So you both Harry both owes you a favor, and you owe him the completion of your deal.
I did fail that.
Ooh.
So I guess I am compelled
spicy.
Yeah.
to finish my job.
I think, yeah, you feel a very strong compulsion to go back to the Ferris wheel. Give me an intelligence check.
That is a pass.
Oh no. Yeah, you think through this, and this seems like the thing to do.
I can finish the deal, and then that way, this whole thing will be over, and you won't have to talk to Buffalo Bill.
Your brain says, yeah, this makes sense. This is
Yes,
right.
this
This
makes
is sense.
Makes sense.
And then can you roll a D3 for sanity? I know we're kind of homebrewing.
Have a D3.
Oh, sorry, D4 for sanity. I think we're kind of.
That's 3.
All right, so take 3 sanity points away. We're kind of homebrewing how sanity for spits works, because they're 10, and it seems like the normal Cthulhu rolls have broken down a bit. So bear with us as we figure this out on the fly.
I don't mean to rush.
If this was all
us
happening
or
Yes.
completely, it's
anything,
been
but I'm motivated to talk to Mr. Prendergast sooner rather than later, for purposes of myself becoming a felon.
Yeah. If your
Could
guys,
that happen before 11?
if the timeline is escalated, does Mr. Pendergast have some sort of table or corner that I can use to do this whole thing for like an hour while you guys?
I suppose there's plenty of spaces to do pretty much anything. It's pretty crowded in there, but as long as you don't need too much space, I'm sure you could.
That's fine. Okay.
We could also come back.
Maybe not.
Oh, I don't mean to impose on your hospitality at all. I'm so sorry.
That is
I'm afraid.
definitely not what I mean. No, we can't come back. So I'm just gonna pack a bag real quick. Can you carry some stuff for me?
Sure. Yeah.
Absolutely, always happy to help.
Okay. I put everything that has been delivered to me by Jimmy, specifically, in a bag, because that's the stuff that I'm like, I know.
Mm-hmm.
and then like some miscellaneous like candles and like things, and then I have my chatelaine. A chatelaine is like a
Key ring.
a key ring for Victorian people. And I put all that in a bag and I hand that to Mr. Wheel.
Can I make an appraisal roll?
Yeah, sure.
I'm finally gonna use this.
Probably with some sort of disadvantage because this is way outside my purview, but
I mean,
yeah, I
No, I'm
care
not-
what I'm being handed.
yeah, just give me a regular roll.
That's a big fail. Not a critical fail, but
He seems shiny. There's no obvious fire hazards here except the candles.
Have you passed a single thing?
yes, every sanity check. And nothing else.
Yeah, you see that the candles are an obvious fire hazard if she didn't pack any bases for them. It's just the candle. And you think it's very likely you could overflow and have some hot wax. It's very important to put your candles on a solid base so they don't knock over. But yeah, value-wise, shiny.
I will not relay my concerns about the candles to Miss Brady, which she may or may not know is a great effort for me to do so. But this is not the time, and I'm trying to make myself more aware of that. It's character development for Phineas. He's
This
doing
is
his
a
best.
big moment for him.
As you look up, Spitz disappeared.
Great. Awesome.
Can do a spot hidden for Spitz.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, same.
Absolutely.
I pass.
Yeah.
I fail.
I pass.
Yeah, you see the front door is swinging just ever so slightly. It's been opened and then carefully almost shut, so there wasn't a noise. They're gone.
Oh dear.
Eager as I am to clear my name, I would feel more comfortable knowing where Spitz is. Did they say anything to either of you?
Not a word.
Okay. Any ideas?
I mean, I haven't known them long.
Horsies?
Maybe.
A great
Maybe.
internal battle.
I,
Horsies.
I heard you speaking earlier to Mr. Parks about the Buffalo Bill show and something about the tickets. Do you have those?
I do, right? Like I was fully lying when I said.
He never gave you tickets, but he's basically, it's like you give your name when you get there.
It's like
and
a
you'll
will
get the
call
tickets,
thing.
Yeah.
What is the likelihood that Spitz could have run off to there?
Oh goodness. I would say pretty high.
Yeah.
And if that's so, Mr. Parks is also on his way there.
And that's bad for Spitz, bad for us, bad for the conglomerate as a whole. Bad. Lots of bad these past few days. New York, a lot more fun.
I have never heard that in my life.
I can't say
But I
I've
am
ever
from
been.
Boston, so.
Yeah.
Let's go! I scribble a note down that's like, Mr. Parks, come on in.
Spitz isn't there, but has a strange urge to diss the Red Sox. I don't know why.
Great. So Spitz gone. Where are you guys off to? Where's the
I think we're off to Buffalo Bills.
Oh,
We're
okay.
headed.
fully going to Buffalo Bills?
Yep.
I love it.
I mean, yeah, we can stop by. I wouldn't want to stop by Pendergast for. I think we're all very worried about a child
Yeah.
in this moment.
Feel a
Like-
weird sense of ownership for Spitz
Yeah.
because we professed to be related to them at some point and now kind of feel that way.
Spitz spent all morning teaching you how to be a vagabond.
We're gonna do it. We're gonna go rescue them, or maybe they just
Can I
they
give
have
him,
run
like, a
off? They didn't
hat?
seem like they wanted to
What?
run off.
Yeah, absolutely. You have you don't have anything that's not like piratey or you have kind of turbans.
Yeah.
Like
Disguise
scarves.
Phineas.
Yeah.
Oh,
Miss Brady-
can I help Phineas with the disguise? Maybe.
Yeah, can we do
Yeah,
a disguise?
absolutely.
I
thing?
think we should try disguise.
Yeah, if you guys together,
One
one
you
of you
have points in disguise.
do,
I
yeah.
can give you the quote unquote help
I
action.
have points in
Great.
disguise.
Guys.
Hey, we make it. We make a hard
We
disguise.
make it hard,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
don't
failed
think- I don't
my
think
disguise
Phineas-
roll.
I don't
I'd
think
say-
Phineas is making the disguise. I'm not sure why you.
Yes, so you're just making a disguise for him and he's not getting any input. Yes, I think
Left to my own devices, I do not
Phineas
disguise
keeps offering
myself.
up
but
suggestions, and they're not.
Yeah.
listening to them.
I think I will say, so initially you have a reasonable disguise that will enable you to evade detection from the average passerby. If you see someone who knows you, that's going to require a disguise roll.
Cool.
Or a stealth roll.
I think like Marion like takes some like soot from the fireplace and like goes over to Phineas and just like smears some like soot on his face.
Okay.
And hunch over a little bit. You're quite tall.
I do hunch though. I've been told it's a poor habit.
Okay, do what you don't normally do.
That's all of this.
Okay. References the newspaper, like looking for a physical description of Phineas.
It says, tall, slouching, nervous man.
Okay,
So-
stand up straight, be confident, all right?
I can do one of those things.
Maybe he's a mute.
Could be.
As you guys are discussing this, let's pop over to Spitz. What is Spitz doing?
Spitz, is there? Because it looks like there's river here.
This is Lake Michigan.
Oh, okay. Is there any like river or stream or creek at all?
There's the railroad tracks that go
Michigan,
across here, so
mhm.
you could walk through the railroad tracks. You could also there's like a number of back alleys that are here, so you don't have to take the main route.
I'm specifically looking for water.
No.
Okay.
No, these are all lakes and stuff. This is one big Lake Michigan.
Okay. Okay.
So in terms of water, nothing nearby. There's some sewers if you're looking for sewers, but that would be the extent of the water.
Can I say that I grabbed like a rag or something?
Mhm.
No, I grabbed like a very nice piece of
Yes.
fabric
Absolutely.
on my way out. I figured that the way to be the least recognizable at the fair is to actually get myself clean.
Oh, there's like public fountains. Yeah, you could definitely
Yes,
find
okay.
water. Yeah, for sure.
The first public fountain Spitz sees, they run over and kind of use this very nice fabric as like a towel. Just kind of like get all the mud off. They pull off their hat and just this mop of hair falls down. Like stuff it back up. You actually see Spitz's face for the first time. And it's still just as unclear how, if to anyone attempting to gender them. But, and is then going to book it for the Ferris wheel.
Yeah, the most direct route would be along this road over here. Okay, cool. Yes.
Stick to the railroad.
Yeah, so you make it to the railroad. Absolutely no problem. There's it's everyone has been rescued, but you come to a scene of pandemonium. There are investigators kind of crawling all over it. There's mechanics trying to keep it from fully pancaking on the ground. It's now leaning at like a 15-degree slant.
Mm-hmm.
You can hear kind of in the background Buffalo Bills, doing the kind of morning warm up for the show. People like the fair doesn't open for like performances until about 10 or 11, but you can see stagehands kind of walking around. The people are getting ready for the show.
Cool. I would like to look around for. I need 5 more bolts.
Mm-hmm.
Given the mayhem of this thing falling apart, I'm like, surely I can just kind of like find some on the ground.
Sure. Give
Sound
me
good?
a luck check.
Okay. That passes.
It's gonna take you a second, but there's definitely a lot of bolts, and you know what a bolt looks like. So I would say it would take a stealth check to pick those bolts up undetected, but if you wanted to just not care if you're found, you'd be
I'll
able
go for
to.
the stealth check.
Yeah, go for it.
That also passes.
Yeah, in the mayhem, you're able to stealthily grab some bolts.
I have to like sit down afterwards and be like, okay, 1, 2. That's 10. 16. Okay. And I wrap them up in the very nice fabric. And I try to find a talking bunny.
Incredible. You walk over to Buffalo Bill's.
Yeah, the last place I saw the bunny was under the bleachers, so I'd probably go look under the bleachers again.
So you can see there's a bunch of horses milling around, all of that.
Soon.
And you're sort of standing there in plain view for a second, and you can see a man talking to Buffalo Bill over in a corner, and then you see the same man that you saw before, tall, tan suit, hat pulled down low, kind of stagger out of a tent, sort of just like rubbing his eyes, and he looks at you and he does like a double take and rushes straight over to you.
This is the bunny.
This is the bunny. Says, "Kid,
Mr. Bunny,
why are you here? You should not be
I
here."
have your bolts.
Oh.
All
Sure.
16.
Sure you. Yep. Okay. Yep. I'll take them. And he takes them and then immediately drops them on the ground and says, "Yep. Did not. Should have expected that. This is my fault. It is early in the morning, kid. You. And now we gotta go meet
But
some
now
horses.
you
We
have-
gotta meet some horses right now. Let's go.
Okay,
Yep.
okay.
Come on, horses
But
right now.
You have the bolts. He doesn't have to talk to Buffalo Bill anymore.
He said, and he like, when you say Buffalo Bill, he looks at what is indeed Mr. Parks off in the distance chatting with Buffalo Bill, and he goes white as a sheet and grabs your arm and starts dragging you back to the horse like paddocks. He says, "Gotta meet a horse now, kid. Meet a horse. You meet a horse now."
Okay.
And you can see that the conversation with Buffalo Bill is getting more and more heated. Where Buffalo Bill is saying, "Yeah, sir, I don't know who you are, and I'm sure not going to tell you about any child under my care or not. Frankly, sir, your vibes are as rancid as butter on the frontier. And I should know. Absolutely not."
From the real Buffalo Bill.
The real Buffalo Bill.
He says, "Absolutely not, sir. In fact, I would like very much for you to leave my establishment, my tents, and not return." And you can hear Mr. Park go, as it is, give me a stealth roll. This is going to be an opposed stealth roll.
47.
47. So you're not seen.
Is
Yeah, so you don't see Mr. Parks turn around, but you can see he sort of starts ambling his way out. And Harry.
Spitz takes
Harry, I just got that. Fuck me.
What? You of all people.
Harry, Jimmy, I was like, I don't know, let's see. Harry, yes, he grabs
Spitz
me, he's like,
takes
kid, we gotta go.
Let's
We gotta
have
go.
a deep breath, seeing this man depart from Buffalo Bill unscathed.
And he's like, "Oh,
It worked.
great. I'm glad whatever you were doing worked, kid. Cause you gotta.
Horses!
Where's Mora? You're supposed to have been gone with Mora."
Well, she was gonna do a ritual, but it didn't seem like I was gonna be able to help with that.
So you came here. Okay, here's a horse. He's a friendly horse. His name's Biscuit.
I'm gonna pick up some hay and feed it to Biscuit.
This goes.
Noises. Good horse noises.
Like just like covered, and Harry's like, have you met a horse before? Flat hand, kid. Yep, there we go. It'll eat your fingers like carrots otherwise. Yep, there you go.
The horses in New York belong to the cops. They don't like it when you feed them.
Oh, that's tragic for the horses. And yeah, it's the horse. This is just a horse. It's just a horse. They seem friendly with Harry.
We'll climb on it.
Harry's like, "Oh,
Can you lift me?
okay, kid. All right, you really just get away with a lot, don't you?" Yeah. So he like picks you up and puts you on the back
Buffalo
of the
Bill
horse.
won't mind. He's a friend.
Okay. Just don't stand on the horse.
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna walk the horse around in a circle, and you're gonna sit on the horse. Hold on to the pommel right there. Yep. Okay. Just don't go. I'm gonna. Yep. And you can see Buffalo Bill come over and say, I was just hearing about you, young child there.
Buffalo Bill!
Harry, child? Harry's like,
Harry, do you work for Buffalo Bill?
says, I am here with the circus for sure. The show. Yep, I'm on the show.
It's a small world.
You met me under the bleachers in the show.
Yeah, but you were a bunny then.
And Buffalo Bill's like, Harry, come on, you gotta bleacher. The horses are gonna spook, man. You can't be doing that, because the horses are gonna spook and they'll try to trample you, and that didn't go well for you or the horses last time. Harry says, yeah, sorry, look, can we deal with the kid first? Can we deal with the kid? Like, I don't know what to do. He won't leave. You met the horses. You should leave now. You met the horses, right, kid? You'd say you meet some horses?
Yeah.
Cool. Do you have somewhere to go that's not here? Buffalo Bill says, Harry, if someone's looking for the kid, he's welcome to hide out here if he wants. Really up to the kid, could put him to work doing something.
Are there any other animals at the fair?
Buffalo says, there's the zoo of Pearlagical Hall. They've got fake animals, and there's a zoo that's coming, like an animal attraction that's coming here at some point. It's not yet come here though. Right now I'm kind of the only name in town, kid.
Can you turn back into a bunny?
Harry says, I could, but not here. In the open, where everyone else can see. Can you get off the horse?
Oh, okay.
Well, you have met the horses, right? You would consider an agreement fulfilled. The deal? You met the horses, you gave me the bolts. We copacetic.
I'm not supposed to say anything about that without Mora anymore. Do I have a lawyer? Vito used to talk about lawyers. But that never seemed like I could afford one. Do I have one now?
Buffalo Bill's like, yeah, Harry, does the kid need a lawyer? Does the kid need a lawyer, Harry? What do you think about that, Harry? And Harry's like, okay, no, you don't need a lawyer. It's totally fine. You just say yes, and then you can go and I can go. Or you can go find Mora and bring her back here, and that would also be fine.
I don't know what I was rolling for.
Yeah.
I don't have a stat prepared to put it to.
What are you trying to ascertain someone telling the truth, or
I think Spitz was attempting to do I need a lawyer?
A luck check on whether or not
Luck
a
check
lawyer
on
is
whether
needed.
or not a lawyer is needed, but I started rolling that before you said you could go find Mora again, and I'm like, oh, that seems to be the thing to do.
Yeah, there's plenty of attractions around, so if Spitz is interested in anything other than animals, but in terms of animals, there's the stockyards over there as well, so you would have seen this if you came in on the train. Mm-hmm. This is like farm animals, like pigs and cows and stuff. So nothing you weren't familiar with.
Yeah. I've been to a slaughterhouse before.
Checks out.
Meatpacking district.
Yeah.
The jungle.
No, it didn't come out till later. Sinclair of the Jungle was that 1908, 15?
Which means things are just as bad as they were in the jungle,
Yes.
as depicted.
God.
Rats in the sausage.
Spitz puts their arms up to be supposed to be lifted off of the horse.
There he goes. Oh, thank God. Okay, thank God. Yep.
I'll go find Mora.
Thanks, Biscuit. Yep.
I'll give Biscuit a little pet.
Yeah, great. Okay, kid, can you be sneaky? Can you just go find Mora?
Yeah, I'm real good at that.
Then not leave her side? So you saw the guy in the coat, right?
Yeah, he's the evil wizard, right?
Evil is subjective. But
Spitz doesn't know what the word rancid means.
no one knows. It's a slang that doesn't exist yet. Although I guess rancid is butt. Anyway,
Yeah.
Vibes definitely doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Says kids, evil is subjective, but
He also doesn't know what subjective means.
evil, it's not bad or good. It's sometimes good people, sometimes bad people do things that are necessary and then everyone else just kind of doesn't stop them. So, it's kind of a stay out of his way sort of thing. Guy like that, asking questions about a kid like you,
he's not gonna care if you get hurt. And, like, I know enough people who kind of got in deep with him that...
Is he mad that I brought down the Ferris wheel?
Definitely not. I think he likes you. And you know, sometimes when adults like you, that's also bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think you should find Mora, who likes you the appropriate amount.
That makes sense.
Yeah, okay. And I think he's gonna give Spitz, give Spitz like
Do you
a
have any
little-
nickels?
He says, yeah, I got a nickel. He gives Spitz a nickel. It has like a hole through the center.
Cool.
Yeah, as you look through the hole, do you point that at Harry?
I mean, I think I'm looking at facing him, so
as you look at it, you see, you can like fully see his ears, and as you look through, like his form shifts between Harry the man and Harry the little rabbit that you met.
So I couldn't get a hot dog with this.
I believe, according to the U.S. Mint, if you deface coins that much, they lose their monetary value. Indeed.
Well,
We got more popcorn?
popcorn sounds good.
He gets like a doggy bag. And Buffalo Bill has just been like watching this.
Heard Spitz confess to destroying the Ferris wheel.
And Buffalo Bill's just like, Harry, I didn't hear any of this. And either we adopt the kid and we add another outlaw to the bunch, or we send him with someone who's gonna take responsibility for this chaos.
Are you all outlaws?
Of course. What do you think the Wild West is for?
Wicked. Spitz is gonna take the popcorn and the nickel with the hole in it, and go out to find more. Again.
Harry's gonna shove the like paper bag of popcorn at you and go like, all right, go find Mora, lay low, and just stay safe. Tell Jimmy I said hi if you see him, and also that he's an idiot.
I'm not Jimmy anymore.
Yep, that's the spirit, kid.
I assume we've been booking it.
Yeah.
To Buffalo Bill.
So if you've been booking this, if you're going straight to Buffalo Bill's, I think that Mr. Parks, so I think there's a good chance so you show up, basically just in time to run into Spitz, and
Yay.
you don't see Mr. Park anywhere.
Okay.
You're okay.
I did it. I saved Buffalo Bill.
From Mr. Park? So
That
he
guy
was
that-
here.
Yeah, he was talking Buffalo Bill, and then I gave Harry the bolts, and he went away.
Where did he go?
I don't know.
That's it? Deal fulfilled?
Well, he asked if the deal was fulfilled, and I said I'm not supposed to say anything about that without Mora.
That's awesome. Okay. Do you know where he is now?
Harry?
Yeah, just give me a minute to think about that one, actually. What is...
I feel strongly compelled to mention something about the representation of minors also being an offense of some sort, but I also understand that this might not be a situation wherein those idiosyncrasies matter much.
Yep.
I'm going back to being quiet like we talked about.
Sounds great.
It hurts my soul for Phineas not to be talking. Okay.
Spitz holds out the popcorn.
You do get the sense the longer you stand in the open.
Yeah, we gotta move.
Great.
Yeah.
On to Prendergast's. Now that we're all back together.
Yeah. I have like a little shawl and I like take it off and I put it around Spitz's shoulder.
Give me an investigate check as you're going out.
Pass.
You see like the hair kind of like sitting right outside the tent as you guys are heading out. Just sort of like looking at you.
Little rabbit foot.
And you know that as Spitz has completed their end of the bargain, that now you're in this, there's kind of this like weird in between space in the deal where like neither end is exerting pressure on the other because both have fulfilled their ends, but you get the sense like the Fae would be happier to have a clear distinction, but if nothing were to happen, nothing happens, and it's an understood kind of thing. The longer no one says anything, the more strongly the deal is considered to be completed, essentially.
Yeah. I'm not concerned about it anymore, but I don't want to, like, play that card.
Oh, Harry still absolutely owes Spitz a favor.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know this. This is how this works.
It was bolts for horsies, and then favor for wheel.
Yeah, which you're not fully clear about what that was yet.
Yeah.
But you have a sense, yeah. Yeah, so you guys are booking it to Pendergast. Is that, unless you're gonna...
Yeah, we can book it to Pendergast. We can call in that favor with Harry later. Because he said, we got a deal, kid. I owe you a massive favor.
He did.
He did say that.
He did.
And I specifically heard him say
Harry, look, Harry and Jimmy are not super smart. They're there.
that. I know their capacity of fulfilling favors is probably also very low, but
Yeah, you know.
just want to keep that in my pocket.
Absolutely. Okay, cool. So you guys all book it to Pendergast, which was, I think, here, he said.
Spitz is very, very happy with the shawl, takes off the hat, shoves it in their pants. Presentation's leaning much more female at this point, but
Very sparkly.
who's to say?
Yeah, you've definitely, it's a little bit of a shock to see Spitz fully cleaned up. You didn't quite recognize them without their layer of grime. But yeah, so you show up at Pendergast. We're gonna...
I'm gonna say no words.
Okay.
That'd be so good.
Actually, as this is happening, as you're getting ready to book off to Pendergast, Phineas, you see two old women sitting on a bench, and they're both kind of knitting. And one of them has a bunch of balls of yarn and have just sort of like spilled out across, and she's kind of struggling to pick them up. She kind of gives you a look and says, some assistance, old young man?
I gotta do it, I guess.
Do I see this in time, and can I make an
But I'm being so
check?
good and I'm saying 0 words. But yeah, no, I'll rush over and like pick up the balls.
Give me a hard spot hidden on this, or an occult check.
That makes the hard spot hidden. Exactly. I have a 22.
Incredible. Yeah, you see them. They're giving off some wicked energy. Not evil, but just in the Boston sense of wicked. In the just powerful beings, whatever they are. You don't get malice from them, but like, you don't know what they are, and they are... Look, don't fuck with the Weavers.
Yeah.
Essentially. Yeah, so you see, you get the sense of, if you're on the outside of a looking glass, the scene happening is that the focus is not necessarily on you. The power is sort of focused on Phineas, who started to move forward. You're sort of observing this scene. But yeah, so you see what's happening.
Yeah. I let it happen then. If it seems like fine, I'm gonna let it happen, but I'm gonna like watch.
Yeah, it says, yeah, sorry, you could just, I'm just an old woman, could you just help me with the yarn and put in a basket? Could use some assistance.
I'm like all of this is really like just so concerned but doesn't know what to do. But so like they're on a bench, yarn has spilled out. I'll collect the yarn and then hold it back out to them.
Yeah, so one of them reaches out for the yarn. She's a very old woman. You can see that one of her eyes is completely cataract over, and the other one is crystal clear. And she's missing all of the teeth in her mouth, save one kind of single incisor. And she just, oh, it's, it's so nice that some young folk are still willing to help. But with modern days, it's hard to slow down.
Absolutely. I mean, believe me, civic duty is one of the most important virtues that I try to extol at every turn. I'm so sorry. Have a nice morning.
No, it's all right. Just do you ever just like want to sit down and calm down just a little bit, young sir?
I'll look. Does it look like they have a newspaper or any?
No, they these women seem slightly out of time. So the one knitting, the other one is an even older American Indian woman, and she's like sort of like she's like kind of borrowing the knitting from the other person and sort of like crocheting something kind of insane looking, very just sort of abstract and loopy. It's not like a scarf or a hat or something. And the other one says, but they don't seem to really be noticing the fair or the fair noticing them. It says, seem awful concerned.
Yeah, I'm so sorry to ask. Are you aware of the events of the past day?
She says, I'm very aware. And the other one's like turns to her and laughs and says, you know, what do you like to say? Not my circus, not my monkeys. That's how I feel about this. And she says, Nishinabe, just, I know, but like, hey, you know, it's, forgive her. I mean, like she says, not her circus, not her monkeys. But yes, I've been watching some of the calamity. You know, well, why do you ask, young sir?
I'm gonna do some sort of psychology check oriented around. I'm trying to figure out, like, have I been made here, or are they just like, do they seem fully oblivious to anything?
Absolutely.
That does not pass.
No. Yeah.
I don't have a good psychology check.
I mean, like, yeah, these grandmas, like, they seem, like, they've been watching what's going on, but they seem not worried. Whatever it is, they're not concerned about you specifically. So yes, I mean, everyone's rushing so much these days, but, I mean, it sounds like you're concerned about the fair as well.
Yes, absolutely. But unfortunately, I do have an appointment that I have to keep. If it's all right, I'll bid you leave.
Yes, absolutely. You know, youth these days, if you'd like to rush, you know, I just, with so much going on, it's hard to blame everyone for what they've, you know, for wanting to be fast with everything. So I'll just bid you be on your way. If you'd like to come back and chat, you know, we'll be here with our knitting. Happy to go.
Here.
Absolutely.
In not a hurry.
Nope.
That does sound pleasant.
Absolutely.
I hope to see you again. Thank you so much, ma'am. Have a nice morning.
As you're running away, one of them says, the first one who with all the yarn balls says, "Hey, young sir, before you go, just
Yes.
as a token of our appreciation, we've been selling these gewgaws to the fair passersby. They seem to be attracting some moderate amount of attention, and just for your kindness in helping us, maybe it'll bring use to you later." And she hands you this like wooden coin thing here. Says, "Yeah, you might find it useful."
Thank you so much. I'm so sorry. I don't have my wallet. I gave it to Mr. I don't have my wallet with me
Mr.
right
Wheel,
now.
this was a gift.
House. Thank you so much, ma'am. I really must be on my way, but I hope to see you again soon.
Just immediately go back to ignoring you. And as you walk out, it's like the fair snaps back into color, and you get the sense that this took place. It's almost like time stopped and everything else has barely moved on as you've been having this conversation.
Okay.
So we didn't really even like
No.
notice that.
No, you were like vibes, and then Phineas is coming out of that a little hit over the head.
What is that?
It's a gift.
From who?
Those old ladies that you were just talking to?
Yes, but they did know who I was, but I think we're okay.
They knew who you were. Did you
Did you
introduce
again?
yourself to them?
No, I did not say my name. I was good, like we talked about. I did not
But they
introduce
knew
myself
you.
as Phineas B. Wheel, despite that being the polite and correct way to greet, especially someone who's your senior, as I can only assume from their physical appearance. But I didn't say anything, and I really did not get the sense that they had any interest in turning me into the authorities or anything of that nature. They were quite kind, and I really would like to speak with them more at some point. But I understand that the appointment of Mr. Prendergast is of the utmost importance right now.
You are a wanted man. Now is not the time.
Spitz takes their hat and puts it on Phineas's head.
Phineas is already wearing some sort of
Yeah.
questionable disguise from the magic shop. The hat just perched upon it. Like, it helps in that when you see someone who is flouting societal norms, sometimes your instinct is to avoid them. So it's kind of what is happening here with Phineas. So you get the sense you gotta leave now if you don't want to be noticed, because you are lucky to have been.
Right. We gotta get going.
We head out.
So you book it over to Pendergast. So it's probably about 7, 8, like 9ish in the morning now with all the walking you've been doing. So walking in the morning. So you get up to Pendergast. It's open. You climb up the third flight of stairs. And you get to his door, and it looks basically the same. It may be like a few more like late bills, unpaid notices shoved underneath the door, like kind of jamming it open or shut rather.
Cool. I'll knock a little bit lightly on the door. Mr. Pendergast, are you in there?
Oh, yeah.
It's Marion.
Yes. Yep, sorry, I'll be right there. And you can hear like a little bit of crashing. And he pops up the door and says, "Hello." Hi. Oh,
Hi.
Hello.
I'm sorry.
Hello. Hi. Hello.
Met a few associates on the road while I was out reporting yesterday. I wanted to check in with you after everything that happened yesterday, but
so much has happened. It was so bad for the mayor.
It really was. But we think that there might have been some blame placed where there should not have been. And I mean, you
are you talking about Mr. Wheel? Oh,
yes.
He didn't do it. Absolutely not. Why?
Okay, great.
Sir, my name is Phineas Wheel. I'm so glad to hear that that's the impression you hold. Because I really think we might see eye to eye on the fact that this really should be seen as a systematic injustice of the civic duty of especially the mayor that you just mentioned, but really the fair organizers as a whole. And if it's all right, I'd love to speak about how we can best change the media portrayal of this to really put culpability on those that truly deserve it, and perhaps even enact positive change in our...
He's beautiful. Where did you find him?
Prison.
Yeah. The fair authorities had locked him up, it seems. Can I run an intelligence check? Do I know the paper that we got this morning? Was it one of Prendergast's?
Yeah, give me a...
Cool. That is a fail. I failed an intelligence roll.
Yeah, I will say Pendergast, he does not write papers, he distributes them, so he would have, but
A little more
removed from the process.
Totally.
But you don't know if he's seen it, but he does seem, I mean, he knows who Phineas B. Wheel is, and he seems very sure that Phineas did not do this.
Great. Awesome. So Mr. Pendergast, like, we know that this man's
Do you
been
want to come
falsely-
in? Do you want to come in?
Yes, sorry. Everyone come on in. Other introductions.
He starts like shoving papers out of the way, just like cacophonies of papers falling down. And there's like one chair. So he pulls out his chair behind the desk and says, please sit, and
Right. This is Maura Brady. She runs a shop on a couple streets down. It's a magic and curiosity shop. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
All right.
Just about.
yes.
Yeah.
Have you
I don't know
heard
if you're
of my
familiar
shop?
with it.
No?
Kind of seems like you are.
Yeah, there's a lot of people around here. I'm sure I've walked by your shop once or twice.
Can I make a psychology check?
Yeah,
Can I also
absolutely.
make one? This is hella
Absolutely.
weird.
I already made
Damn
it.
it. Crit fail?
No! Wait, show map cam.
3 zeros.
Oh boy.
You gotta just,
how the mighty fall.
Put the dice roller here or something if we keep rolling like this.
Yeah, I mean, you guys want to roll on the map. That's really the thing you can
I can't do it with the metal dice, but
Oh, yeah.
Stop using the metal dice.
Metal dice, give it.
The metal dice.
The metal dice
do
take
not
it.
take it away.
They giveth him sanity.
Yeah, that's about
They
it.
giveth him plausible
Yeah.
deniability for the magic
we
in the
don't
world.
want you to be given sanity. You've got too much of that.
But yeah, the matter at hand being the critical fail.
The critical fail on the psychology check.
Great.
Oh boy.
Wow, yeah, so... Yeah, I mean, he's a newspaper distributor. Why would he know anything about the magic shop? No reason to. He's just concerned about railroad safety. Yep.
I bet he's a Protestant. I heard the word magic shop. He's gonna get all fucking weird. Anyway.
I'm a Protestant.
He says,
Phineas P. Wheel.
Good for you.
he says, nope, sorry, both my dear mom was Catholic.
That's not better.
Can confirm.
How about we move on?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. The matter, yes. Anyway, Maura Brady.
It's clear that the mayor is covering this up, and if maybe bringing truth to the light here will enable us to prove that the mayor is not a responsible and just governor at this point.
Right. I mean, of course, like, there is some suspicion around Mayor Harrison, of course, but what we're finding, too, is there may be some bigger forces at work here that might be trying to sabotage parts of the fair that maybe Mayor Harrison doesn't even know about. We don't really know what they are or maybe what even they want, but there's a bigger story here. But the reason we came to you is because this man's been falsely accused. We have to clear his name so we can figure out what's even going on.
Absolutely. I think our priority really should be the mayor. The mayor seems, I'm sure, riddled with safety concerns. So clearly this is what has been responsible.
Well, while they're talking, can I just do a spot hidden around the office for anything cool?
Yeah, give me a spot hidden.
56.
Does that pass?
That's one away.
You could push it. You could also push this roll. We haven't pushed a lot of rolls.
Yeah,
in this game.
I'll push it.
Yeah. 50. Okay.
50, yes,
It
that
makes
passes.
Yeah. Okay. So as you're poking around, and I guess pushing this roll would be like poking around more
Instead of
deliberately.
just looking.
Yeah. So as you're poking around,
Touching everything.
The coin in your pocket starts to vibrate as you get closer to things, and as you're moving around, you shove some papers over and revealing kind of like a hidden cabinet. And so in the cacophony of papers, a couple of books fall out, and they're very Fey based. You recognize a couple of these.
Can I look through the coin at Pendergast?
Yes, I need a sanity check.
I did gasp.
That passes.
Passes. Okay, great.
46.
So you see,
You're so sane.
when you looked through,
Kids are resilient.
when you looked through the coin at Harry, you saw his form would flicker back and forth between the more human version of him and the hair. But it was a flickering the way that light or a star would flicker. And when you look at Pendergast, you see a patchwork creature. So it's almost as if something scaly, something wet has stitched bits of flesh over itself. You get the sense that what you see through the coin isn't always exact. It isn't literal. It's a little bit more metaphorical, and it looks like something like that something inside a chrysalis that didn't get fully get a chance to grow, that came out malformed and dried and crystallized in ways that it shouldn't have, and then it has kind of stretched human skin around it. You get the sense that it's desperately trying to break out of that, but it can't because it is that, and it's just trapped. So Pendergast, there's a huge loud sound as these fall down.
Yeah.
He says, "Oh no! let me just clean that up," and tries to shove papers over.
I'm so sorry, sir. That's just my little boy, and I'm helping.
It's quite all right. Yes.
I help him cover it with papers and can I make
Spitz is gonna put the coin in front of Mora's eye while she's doing
immediately
that. Spitz is oh, that's fucked up. Somebody else should know.
Sanity check.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's
you see the same
more
thing.
than she's ever seen. It fucking passes.
Great. Yeah, so you see this, and you immediately, sometimes knowledge conquers fear, and you see this, and it is gross and terrible, but what you recognize this is as a changeling. So this is a member of the Fae who should have grown up, nurtured and supported, but instead was forced out into the mortal world, and so has grown wrong and tried to force itself into looking and feeling human. And it is the contradiction between both of those that tears it apart internally. But it is always going to be sort of this thing. You can't escape some of the damage of how you grew up.
I think she feels incredibly, like, bad for this thing. Because, like, ow.
He can see the coin as Spitz holds it up to your eye. He knows what this is.
Yeah.
And he just sort of...
Yeah, she kind of stops and she, like, sort of drops the papers that she was, like, helping with. Mr. Pendergast?
Pendergast.
Pendergast.
Yes.
What is your relationship with the mayor like? Truthfully.
I thought he was a better man than he was. He promised that he would do good things for the city, and he has not done that.
I agree.
And perhaps promises were made by me to others that he would be a better person, that we could take a chance on him, and he has failed to live up to any of that, and as consequence, has also destroyed what little remained of my reputation. But that's not really the important point.
And the people you made promises to were more like me, or were they more like you?
I guess I should say they were more like me, but
It's okay.
It has only been an effort to prove that true, that I have been more fully rejected.
Interesting.
Mr. Pendergast, are you acquainted with a Mr. Park by chance?
How did you hear that name?
We had an unfortunate meeting with him this morning, actually. Came to Miss Brady's shop, hoping for a card reading.
And a little more than that. He's taken a distinct interest in this child.
Spitz.
And I'm sure, given your reaction,
And you
that
brought
you and
him
I...
here. Her here? Them here?
We're not sure.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But maybe this is an opportunity for us to help each other.
Look, this is not my first encounter with an evil wizard. Wrench has got it covered.
He, visibly, takes a step back from your wrench.
So I know I've been told in the past that my reading of social situations isn't always incredibly astute or accurate, but a minute ago it seemed like we were all very much on the same page about the writing of a statement to clear my name, and somehow that thread seems to have most recently gotten lost. Did I miss something?
No, just
Spitz puts the coin in front of Phineas.
That was not the right move. As Phineas. Alright, I assume that's a number of checks.
God, give me this with this disadvantage.
What does disadvantage look like?
That means you roll.
Because I made the first one.
Yeah, you roll.
So you roll the.
Let me.
You roll the 10 again,
Okay.
and then you'll take the higher number.
was
So
a
yeah, first
20.
one was a 20.
60
yes.
still passes.
What is your sanity?
67.
Started,
now.
yeah,
Yeah,
67
it was
after I
70.
took a hit once, yeah.
Great.
I mean,
Yeah.
I still see what I see,
You
yeah.
still see what you see. Yeah, I mean, I think at this point you're just kind of like, sometimes disability is not visible to the eye.
Okay, but I think this is enough to shut me up for the time being.
Yeah.
The question was, why aren't we talking about my story anymore? And that gave me an answer.
Yeah,
Spitz, can I see that, please?
I don't know if you want.
The Spitz fully holds on to it. It's just holding it up for each adult to look through.
yeah, give me a sanity check.
Hey!
The direction.
Marion's on the
Sanity
same
is
page,
so
everybody.
Woo! Here we go.
Marion knows what the fuck is happening.
Give me an intelligence check.
Love it. Great. That's okay. That's pass.
If you pass, great. Give me a d6 for sanity damage.
Cool. That's a 3.
Yep.
Cool. My God.
Yeah, you're like, wow. Yeah, that's not of this world. That cannot be explained by this world.
Just turn to Mora. Is that what you're talking? What were you talking about the other worlds? Were all right. Mr. Prendergast, are you human?
That's a very delicate question.
Yeah, it's considered rude in most circles to ask.
I'm sorry.
I can explain
I'm
more
a little
of the,
new to
like,
this.
the delicacies of that blunder later.
I'm just trying to understand what to make of this situation.
Can I make like a contested listen check to whisper to her what's happening, like so that I don't hurt his feelings?
Give me a stealth roll, which would be
He's the
against
patchwork
his
man.
listen.
Okay.
Which is pretty high. So he needs to make his listen is 65. So success would be below that. So he made that. Was that a regular success?
No, I failed.
Oh, you failed? Yeah, so he hears whatever you're about to say to her.
Okay. So he's what's called a changeling,
a change,
which means that someone from their world left one of their kids here and took one of our kids to their world.
Oh,
And it's just kind of like a really messy, like confusing time in a child's life to also be not human and not understand why.
right.
And no one's really there to tell them anything. Honestly, we're very lucky that Mr. Pendergast is as developed as he is.
I see. I'm so sorry if I offended you. I understand what it is to be in a world that doesn't seem to want you.
It's fine.
Some of the old ladies and one of the nuns used to say that about me.
Nuns are terrifying.
They're not nice.
Not.
So,
Well, I've
I'm
met.
very, very convinced I was a devil child.
Yep.
Pretty guess been there.
Says, well, you got out,
Kid.
kid. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Could we move on?
I am
And,
under. Yes, absolutely.
So, Mr. Parks, a distinguished member of our community.
But I'm getting the impression that you and I feel about the same way about him.
He's also not human, I take it.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
definitely.
I'm so sorry.
Oh yeah. Oh my God.
I'm
definitely.
not supposed to say that. I'm so sorry. I'm just trying to understand who's on which.
So the
Yeah.
mayor is also an evil wizard.
I'm not sure. Is the mayor an
Is the
evil
mayor
wizard?
Evil wizard?
Or did he just get you into a whole heap of trouble by
No.
being an ass?
I'm Mr. Harrison, fully aware of most of our community, and he, initially when he first was running for mayor, came and asked to speak to members of our community as representation. And there was hope among many of us that this would be, as Chicago grew, that there would be hope that we could grow together better. And like many of the things Mr. Harrison has done, he said one thing and promptly began to do another. I thought that he just didn't understand that if I explained it to him and continued to explain it to him, because I was, as someone who's more in the outside world, that I thought that, I said, no, Mr. Harrison's a good deal. Trust me. I go out in the human world a lot. And so there were people who trusted me. And then Mr. Harrison betrayed that trust and then didn't listen. And I thought if we explained it to him, if I thought that if he understood
that we needed to move the railroads because people were getting trapped. It's so hard to cross a railroad track. And then you're sick for days or weeks afterward, and otherwise you have to go round, all the way around, and sometimes that's hard. If you've got a tree you've got to be next to, or if you've got a body of water you have to haunt. It can be difficult. We've established a place. It is difficult to move out of that place, and I just thought, well, he's a busy man. We'll just keep trying to explain it to him, and he has ignored all that. And then when the fair happened, he cleared out a lot of areas of wilderness and wild areas that people had moved into from the city when the city was starting to develop. And it was kind of at that point we all realized that he wasn't just busy, it was he actively didn't care and kind of wanted us all to die. That's the reason the Ferris wheel was not great. It made everything equally bad, which is, I think, the reason Mr. Parks is interested in this person, because if you bring down a Ferris wheel, imagine what else you could bring down.
Right.
And it's...
My wrench can do anything.
It's hard when you've tried to be reasonable for so long, and then someone tries to trap and kill you. Then it feels if certain other members of your community come along and say, hey, this isn't reasonable, let's destroy it. That's not crazy, is it, anymore? You've tried, you did your best. You wrote a bunch of letters. They were not even just ignored, they were ignored in such a way that meant the person had heard you and decided they didn't care. So this is why we just need to do everything we can. And if the fair burns down in the process...
Mr. Prendergast, I'm so sorry for all you've been through.
Everyone hates me now. I mean, they hated me before. And I thought maybe if I helped them, they would hate me less. That didn't happen, and I made it worse.
I see. So, Mr. Parks, you're saying, wants to burn down this fair.
Yep. And everyone else is kind of like, wherever you want to do that, sure, this works out for us too. And so there's plenty of Fae, but not many people going to oppose him currently.
I see. Is there any reason we should stop you?
Well, as a somewhat considered human,
100,000 human lives, I mean.
I don't know if I've been tracking all of this conversation, and I apologize in advance for the fact that I again opened my mouth. I know this is something we've talked about, but I thought I was on board with a lot of this conversation, and I sympathize with the your pleas on the larger leaders and infrastructure falling on deaf ears. That ended with burning the fair down, and I might have qualms with that.
The 100,000 human lives. Yeah, no, I'm not fully on board with burning the fair down, just to be clear.
Okay, that is a massive relief for me to hear. I can retreat back into solitude now. I just would like the interest of the human lives and the not burning of the fair to be taken into consideration,
of course.
if that's at all possible.
Of course.
So, did he or did he not want to raise the railroads? Mr. Harrison.
Mr. Harrison? No, he was vehemently opposed.
Okay.
And so there's something about all
And he
people
built
like
more.
you are trapped within the railroads. Is that right?
Trapped, and then if we get trapped, you can't visit people, you can't move around, you get
Right.
you get
You're restricted.
restricted, yeah, to your neighborhood, yeah.
I see.
Gerrymandering.
Who's Jerry?
It's a big word.
We did meet a Jerry at one point, right?
Jerry man.
We met a Gerald.
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 I'd be a Jeffrey.
Yeah.
And Jeffrey.
No, he says, no, he was, when the wheel went up, we knew that it wasn't, incompetent malice, but it was actively malicious.
What was the wheel doing?
So when things turn counterclockwise, it helps dispel magic. It's like an anti-magic buff. And I thought that perhaps there was a specific spell that Harry and Mr. Park were trying to get dispelled, but you're saying that it's more of like it's dampening all of you.
It's working in conjunction with the railroad. It's sort of a magnifying effect on the railroad, and thus the dampening effect on us. So even the second it went up, we all felt very ill, and just it's been kind of a low-grade depression from there that's made everything worse. And of course, we couldn't get near it. We couldn't do anything to it once it went up. Because all that energy moving around, all those people up every single day, adding more energy to that wheel, moving around and around. That's why we owed, I think everyone sort of owes him a little bit of a favor. But especially, the people nearby. It was sort of a huge thing that they did for us.
So when you say that I'm owed a favor, what could I get for that?
Hopefully, we can exchange it for protection from Mr. Park. Because I don't know what he wants with you, but I'm not a big fan of that in general. I know you're thinking more horsies. I can feel the more horsies. I will take you to see horsies.
I've already seen the horsies. I need new material,
new aminals.
But also just wouldn't say no to cold hard cash.
Sorry, do you have a concept of money? Do you have any money?
A nickel with a hole in it.
I have 2 nickels.
One has a hole in it.
I had to check my inventory.
One
I
for each
have
eye.
3 nickels, one of which has a hole in it, so I don't think I could actually get a hot dog with it.
Right. Okay. I will give you money to get a hot dog. I think we're mainly talking about protection at this point.
As long as you are in our protection, you can have as many hot dogs as you want. That means you don't wander off. You stay close, or you let us know where you're going. And you keep Wrench with you all the time.
Oh, that's happening no matter what.
Okay, cool. So, hot dogs for lunch.
Okay. Not
Can I have one
great
too?
at doing what I'm told.
I'll have a hot dog.
Of course.
I like hot dogs.
Yeah, sure, buddy.
Yeah.
Sure.
What's Phineas up to?
A lot of this conversation goes over Phineas's head. I'm going to circle back to this, which I've been carrying around, but not until now I've had really a chance to look at.
You've seen a lot of people pass around weird magic circles, so it feels right.
Yeah. Do I recognize this object? Do I see? They said they were passing them out at the fair. Have I seen anything like this ever before?
You've been at the fair for a grand total of
Fair. Yeah.
20 minutes.
Does it seem valuable? Can I make an appraise roll on it, or
you can make an appraise roll? Yeah.
Do that first. That's.
Yeah, it doesn't seem materialistically valuable.
Okay.
I'm having a conversation with Spitz. Never mind.
Yeah. So it doesn't seem materialistically valuable. You can give me a wisdom or an intelligence roll for trying to figure out what it does.
Sure.
Do you, as Shawn, recognize this?
No.
Oh, great.
Perfect.
Great.
Good.
Okay, make that a hard intelligence roll then.
Nice. And I'm assuming it doesn't look like anything that I've seen in Ms. Brady's shop yesterday, right? Because that would be my only exposure to anything occult to anything.
No.
Okay, hard intelligence roll. I make a normal, but not a hard.
Yeah, you think that there's something you have not figured out about this, but it doesn't feel necessarily occult to you.
Okay.
But you get the sense that you were given it because you needed to know this. It wasn't just that someone needed to have this information, but that this was a question posed to you about your or a future somehow. It's like someone was offering you a choice a little bit. Okay. With that knowledge.
I'll keep messing with it.
Yeah.
We can go back to that.
Yeah, so you could have messed with that in the corner.
Thanks.
So Pendergast turns to you and says,
So I don't want to get more involved with Mr. Park. It seems like he's going to get involved with us, and me now by association, since you have come here. I don't know if that's good or bad for you. Again, I am a pariah of this community. I cannot overstate that enough. I just reiterate, so maybe Mr. Parks wants to destroy the fair. The mayor wants to kill all of us. So there's a tension there. You hear what I'm saying?
Fully. I think with especially someone like
and to be clear,
Mr. Wheels.
The fair is part of the problem. It is like a structural issue.
Right.
Of the
I'm not
fair.
worried about the fair as much as all of the people that are here attending it.
Right. Is there a way we can do what you're suggesting, but keep as many people as we possibly can, or all of them, safe?
Can they leave the fair and then we burn it down?
That seems like a great plan. Like, see?
Phineas Wheel checking right back in. Burning the fair, still not something that I think I can conscience personally at this. Unconscionable, but without all of the affixes attached. Just not something I can personally conscience at this point. I trust you and your agency, and I confess I'm a little out of my depth here, but any plans involving not burning the fair would make me far happier.
Right. That's
I'll
why
go
it's
back.
like a solid CD area.
Happy to hear it.
But I think anyone, Mr. Wheel, you would be the most equipped to help us find a solution here that fits both parties.
Yes, and that requires not burning the fair, but also it seems like for reasons a little unclear to me, but important to Mr. Prendergast and perhaps Mr. Park, as few people at the fair as possible.
That, there's the railroad issue. We want to really get those above ground, if possible. You could justify this with people get hit by them sometimes, and if you put them in the air, maybe people will get less hit by them. The elevated train that we have so far seems like it's working out great. Why can't we do that for the rest of the city? And it sure would save space and be more safe, surely.
Yeah, I hope I haven't misrepresented myself. I don't make policy at all. I mostly just complain about it.
Okay, then what good are you?
I've been asking myself that question a lot recently. I was really hoping that I could do some good by highlighting the deep concerns I had about both the cold storage facility and the Ferris wheel, but both of those tragedies happened anyway, so I don't have a good answer for that question.
Sir, Mr. Wheel, there is a time for talk and there is a time for action. And it seems to me we're all talked out.
I'm just saying, if someone's trying to kill you, it's okay to try to kill them back. And I feel like no one would disagree with that. So if we...
No, fully.
Right. So you hear what I'm saying.
So we're
Mr.
gonna kill the
Harrison
mayor.
is trying to kill you. The 100,000 people who have come from all over the world to see all of this cool shit that he set up, they have no idea that any of this is happening. And I'm fully sympathetic. We can kill Mr. Harrison. That seems fine. That's like one dude. I'd also like to fix... Because if he dies, then just some other guy
We're dealing with a structural issue here.
So I'd rather help figure out a way to make this benefit all parties, and maybe also he dies. Who knows?
Mr. Harrison seems bigger than one person. Mr. Harrison sort of is in all of this. He was the one who put the Ferris wheel up. He is the one who designed this specifically to keep people like Mr. Prendergast oppressed and kept down.
So we burned down Town Hall.
That's not on the fairgrounds, but good energy. I'm not disagreeing with you that we need to find a way to keep those 100,000 people safe, but as far as I see it, this fair can't stand.
As you're saying that, what is Mr.
This.
Wheel
It
figuring
makes
out?
me feel safe. Anyone know what they were passing them out at the fair?
So you've been playing with it.
Yeah.
And what has it been doing?
It's I don't know. Here, give me a
what
moment.
picture do you see when it spins
It's a
like that?
it's a dove, and
Maybe
it's
just a bird. Maybe just it's a bird.
It's a bird, and it's on. There's like a flame. This looks like maybe a fire, maybe someone's hair, but when it's spinning, it really looks like
feather?
I think like maybe.
Yeah, so you take
When it spins, it kind of looks like a upside down bird.
You've been turning this over and over in your mind, and eventually over and over in your fingers, and you recognize this now as kind of a new invented optical illusion, kind of one of these moving picture items that's kind of sweeping through both the fair and the nation at the moment. And this is given to you by sort of women who knew what was going on and seemed also at somewhat removed from the situation. And you see on one side a black flame and on the other a bird. And as you spin them together, the image of a bird on fire is revealed. And you recognize this as unmistakably, especially Mora, as the symbol of a phoenix. And with that, we will take a break. This has been Chicago Fae, a production of Twice Rolled Tales, and we'll be back with possibly another part, or at least a conclusion to this thrilling adventure. Make sure you check out our Discord and everything down below, and see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.